address of his mother's apartment, which was sort of a tenement-type structure, really, about 4 floors.
Are you rolling? Hey, let me get you to start over because we weren't rolling. But let me, first of all, tell me now. You wanted to meet him. How old were you? Tell me the whole story like you told me on the phone.
Okay. It was in 1943, and my very best friend and I were living in North Jersey. Hoboken, if I shall say it again, lies on the base of the Hudson River, and then we have what we call the New Jersey Palisades, which are basically cliffs.
Right.
Hoboken is low, and there's a long road, bridge sort of structure, which is called the viaduct, which led to the towns up above. And my friend and I had a terrific crush on Sinatra, as all the little girls at that time did, and we wanted very much to meet him. So we knew at the time he was still living in Hoboken with his mother, so we looked up his address in the phone book, and we got his address, and we hopped on our bicycles and rode down this viaduct, went down to the apartment, and it was a 4-story structure, old apartment, rang the doorbell, and she buzzed us in. In those old apartments, you had to ring a buzzer in order to let someone have access to in the apartment. And we went upstairs, and we simply said, "Is Frank here?" And she was darling. She said, "Why, no, girl." She said, "I'm sorry you just missed him. What can I do for you?" And we didn't know what to say, so we told her we were college girls. And she believed us. And we said we wanted to get into a fraternity, or not fraternity, sorry, sorority. And in order to get in, we had to have an autographed picture, a personally autographed picture from Frank. And she said, "Well, I can do that for you." And she offered us some tea. She asked us to come back the next day, and we'd have our picture, and we did. And she gave us the picture.
No, he wasn't there the next day.
No, I think he probably knew we were coming. But in any case, it was shortly after that, I understand, he bought his mother a home in Hasbrook Heights, which is out further in New Jersey. They gave up that. It was an old apartment.
Well, now, let me ask you this. When you first rang the door, she didn't even ask who was it?
No, because at the apartments in the cities at that time, you went into a little vestibule and you rang the doorbell, but you could not open that door. Someone would have to buzz you in, and more often than not, they'd open the door to their apartment 3 or 4 stories up and scream, "Who is it?"
Oh, gosh.
And we're here to see Frank. And she said, "Come." And we went upstairs. Yeah, it was a different era. You know, we don't do these things anymore,
No.
obviously.
Well, everybody would be afraid to let
sure,
anybody
of course,
near.
yes.
But did you, were you surprised even then, though? How famous was he by that time?
At that time, he was, well, a year later, we cut school to see him at the Paramount. He was just starting to become quite popular, and all the little Bobby Soxes, of which I was one, screamed over him and everything. He was just starting to come into his really big popularity. And shortly after that, as I say, he bought his mother a home in Hasbrook Heights in New Jersey, and they moved out of Hoboken.
He was getting some money.
Well, of course, yeah. I wouldn't blame him for getting out of Hoboken, quite frankly. It was a dreadful town.
But let me ask you.
Sure. 1 second, sorry.
That's okay.
Through the natural process of things.
When I told her briefly, she said, "Oh," she said, "well, I'm not up at 11. I said, "I'll tape it." I said, "I'll have my 15 seconds of fame."
She couldn't stay up for one night.
They just came back from England.
Tonight, so
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, how exciting. Isn't that
Unless
wonderful?
something happened while I was gone.
Yeah, well,
We're the lead story.
the world's coming to an end or something.
No, I mean, this was a big deal today. It's
I will have to tape that and give it to my children and grandchildren. Oh, my goodness, yes.
And so, how long have you been here? And,
down here, we've been here for quite some. My husband took an early retirement. He retired in his 50s.
Oh, wow, nice.
Not really. He was, one of the first casualties of reorganizing, restructuring.
Yeah.
When they got rid of the offices, he was one of the first. He was with the Aetna, so we moved down here, and we've been here 12 years.
Yes, that's fine. Now, let me ask you about this time. I mean, when you heard that he died today, I mean, obviously you thought back.
Oh, yes.
And did it bring back a rush of memories?
Yes, sad. I had good memories of, the way we enjoyed him. But it's sad because, quite frankly, you get to a certain age and you see all the icons of your youth fading away one by one. And it kind of makes you realize, I guess, you think of your own mortality, you're on that final glide path. Truly, I mean, it just seems one by one, you think, I remember, and suddenly occurs to you, hey, I'm getting a hell of a lot older.
Well, nobody ever said we were going to, and nobody gets out alive. That's
no,
true.
that's true. But I think that's one of the reasons it saddens you. You think how quickly time goes by.
And it does, doesn't
It does, very, very quickly.
So quickly.
It seems like yesterday, when we were thinking of running to him and seeing him and standing in lines at the Paramount in New York and getting caught in school. I was nearly expelled. That was one horrendous crime at that time.
You got in big trouble.
Oh, good heavens. I was nearly expelled for cutting school.
And you skipped school just to get tickets.
I skipped school to go to the Paramount. My friend and I, we went over to the Paramount to see him. And I don't know how they found out, but they did, and we had to go to the principal's office. Dreadful little man, had very short arms. Just walk around the hall like, his name was Mr. Maney. And short arms. And he told me I was going to be expelled because I broke a cardinal rule, leaving school and without permission. And at that time, that was horrendous. It was considered quite horrendous.
Before you did it, did you consider that? Did you say?
No, I was in love with Frank Sinatra, my dear.
So you didn't
Who thought of these things? He would have saved me.
He was going to take care of
Oh,
you.
of course.
Now, let me ask you, you weren't the only one.
No, my girlfriend, my best girlfriend, cut with me. She told him she was meeting her grandmother's boat from Italy, that a family had to go to the dock to meet her. And for some reason, they swallowed that story. I couldn't think of a blasted thing. I just blank. Didn't know what to say. It was caught red-handed. So
You need to be a better liar, huh?
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but I survived that. I didn't go to jail. I've led a straight life since then.
You've been good since then.
Yes.
What did your parents say? Were they upset with you?
Oh, my mother was furious because you just did not do those things. You did not do those things.
That's amazing.
Oh, she was furious with me. But again, I went straight after that, so I haven't had any trouble with police, schools, or anything else since then.
You're not a hardened criminal.
No.
No. Give me some 2 shots if you don't mind. Tell you what, I know what you're talking about. Even my folks are in their 60s, and they say a lot of the same things. You see people passing in different.
I will see your napkin.
I'm sorry. And you see different people passing, and you think to yourself, my God, what the heck? I said I wake up in the morning the same as I did when I was 25.
No. This is a thing. You know what happens? I tell you, you reach a certain age, and you look in the mirror one morning, and everything is hanging 2 inches lower. And this is not a lie. It is. And you look at yourself in profile, and what used to be nicely rounded back here is suddenly sitting here, and what used to be flat here is c'est la vie.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
I'll go going down fighting. I'll tell you that.
Take care of yourself. Stay healthy and happy. That's all that counts.
Yeah, that's all you can.
Yeah.
And you never know. You never know. You never know. Well,
Where's
this is
this
a good
picture?
It's right here.
Oh, my goodness.
Just
What the whole thing was
right over the
about.
table.
Right.
Well, the people are what it's all about, but these work good. Okay, is that good enough, or am I moving it?
That's good.
I think I might.
Can you pick up the signature on it?
Yeah, I'm hoping that he can get. Let me see if I can set this up, Scott, so that, because I'm afraid my hand's shaking a little bit.
You could lean it against one of these things. Why don't you stick it against here?
Well, it's up there.
Yep.
Oh.
And you'll be able to get the whole thing. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I think it's good.
No?
Hold on just a second. Let me
No,
just.
no,
There.
not you guys, it's his tripod.
Our tripods are old. No, my dad. But you know what? It doesn't. It's so. You never know, because my father was, I guess he's 64 now, and he ran marathons up until about 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. And
Keep yourself in shape.
oh yeah, my mother too. They would run marathons and run.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, and they were really, and you know, about a year ago, she felt something weird in her stomach, and you know, cancer.
Oh, my word.
3 weeks ago. With the chemo radiation, and after that, they told me his brain was great, and so we were like, this was a month ago, 1 week ago, so then we're going now.
Oh, dear
And
God.
that's why I say, well, like you said, think about it. And also, you don't realize, you never know
No.
when it can get, you know, because I was talking to my mother about it, and I said, it obviously been a hard time for them. I said, you know,